Hey there, it's Christy Whitman. I hope you're having a great day. You know, I am an 80s girl. I was born in the 70s. I was born in 1970. And in the 80s, when I was growing up as a teenager, there were a lot of movies that really touched me. And one of them in particular was The Breakfast Club. And I remember seeing The Breakfast Club. I was a freshman in high school, and I went and saw it with my mom. And that movie really helped me not feel so alone. Like, am I the only one that feels like my mom and dad don't get me? Like, I'm a freaking alien? Like, was I adopted? Because I don't feel like I belong in this family. And they don't, just even that song from Will Smith.
To you other kids all across the land, there's no need to argue. Parents just don't understand.
Parents just don't understand. And so that movie grounded something in me, as did 16 Candles and About Last Night, which is one of my favorite movies with Rob Lowe and Demi Moore. And of course, St. Elmo's Fire and Pretty in Pink and all of those awesome coming of age John Hughes movies, and even the movies like The Outsiders and all that. So these were movies that when I was a teenager, I felt like, wow. And this was a time when cinema, and they actually talk about this in the new documentary called Brats that Andrew McCarthy did, and it's on Hulu and I think Disney Plus, but and other streaming services that you could check out. However, this documentary was really about, for me, what I teach. And, you know, I got to say, I love Demi Moore. She's just, for me, has always been a very beautiful role model of strength, of power, of wisdom, and of insight. And in this documentary called Brats, he interviews Demi. And one of my friends said, oh my God, she reminds me so much of you, especially the way she talks. And I know that she's done a lot of deep work with Deepak Chopra and obviously and she has a very deep spiritual side to her. And what really hit me and my takeaway from this whole documentary of Brats, and I recommend watching it, is that Andrew McCarthy and some of, not all of them, but some of those that were considered to be the brat pack took it as all of them I think took it as a negative thing. But how they chose to create from that place was all on perspective. Tom Cruise was considered part of the Brat Pack, but he became one of the, biggest movie stars ever so far. And he didn't let being called, or what other people's opinion of him being called or put into what some may perceive as a negative thing. When I heard the Brat Pack, I was like, oh, they're awesome, because those are all my favorite movie stars. We got Rob Lowe and Andrew McCarthy and Demi Moore and Ali Sheedy and, just Emilio Estevez and Judd Nelson. And, these were like my coming of age, Molly Ringwald. These are the people that I related to, and I felt like I wasn't alone. And that movie, Breakfast Club, like I said, it's like, oh, yeah, we have that at our high school. Those guys are the stoners, and I like them too. And those are the cheerleaders, and I like them too. And who do I want to be? What group do I want to fit in? But this movie called Brats, wow, how you choose to have something hit you, affect you. Andrew McCarthy was saying that, decades later, it was like a wound that was still exposed, and it was hard for him to talk about it. And yet he did to heal those wounds. But it was so interesting. Tom Cruise, they mentioned him in the movie, but he became one of the biggest, so did Demi. At one point, she was one of the highest paid actresses. So an event, and Demi talks about this in the movie, an event is an event, but it's what we make it. And if we are, like Einstein said, if we are choosing to think that the universe is hostile and that the universe is against us, then we get into this I have to protect myself, a very defensive way. It's me against the world type of thing. But when our perspective changes to this is a friendly universe and that the universe is for me, then we as an individual get to relax and feel the energetic support. Everything is perception. And what we choose and decide on a situation, it then creates our reality. So I'd love for you to watch the movie, a new documentary called Brats, especially if you were, an 80s kid like me, and you'll really get to see and really take in the words that Demi Moore was talking about, because it really is all about us creating our own reality, and where we have our own decisions that maybe were limiting that we made, that we weren't loved, or that we're not enough, or whatever it may be, that shapes and molds us, that creates. But if we look at the universe, when there's never a time where it's not too late to make a different choice. In this now moment, if you choose to believe that the universe, the whole entire universe, infinitely loves you and is on your side, even with the mistakes you've made, even with the missteps, even with the knowings, even with the times of learning, the universe now and forever will love you infinitely. Energy is here for us all. And when we can feel our way into that, that's what gets us off a negative vibration to a positive vibration, or at least neutralizes us from a negative vibration into feeling good. So I hope today you are feeling good. Watch that movie. It's great to just get a totally different perspective, because perspective is everything. We create with our consciousness, and our perception is our consciousness. Have a great day. All right, so here is a process to help you shift your perspective on anything. Ask yourself, what do I want? Why do I want it? And how do I want to feel? Even in a perception of something that happened a long time ago, maybe you held a perception and that you've outgrown that perception. Ask yourself, could I see this situation differently? Just ask yourself, is it possible I could see this situation differently? And if you can, and you're at least willing to open, imagine you are starting to see. What if you looked at, this is not your demise, but this is the greatest thing? As I was sharing the example of, being called the Brat Pack and being part of that group of fabulous actors, I was jealous. I wanted to be part of the Brat Pack. Anybody that was part of that, to go, I'm part of the Brat Pack. I'm part of the elite. Now that confidence changes versus, they call it a Brat Pack and the world is out to get me and they're saying I'm spoiled. And it's a very different way to look at life. So whatever you're having in your life right now, are you willing to look at the situation differently? Just having that willingness. Yes, I am willing to look at the situation differently. Okay, what if I looked at this as a blessing? What if this was for me? What if I looked at the universe and everything in it is for me? As Albert Einstein said, the most important question you can ask yourself is this a hostile or a friendly universe? So if I'm thinking it's friendly and that the universe is for me, this situation, circumstance, event is also or was also for me. How can I now look at, because nothing is ever black and white or positive, negative, and nothing's ever just all positive or all negative. Every scenario, every circumstance, everything in this world that's 3D has a polar, hot, cold, up, down, in, out, right, wrong, bad, good. So what if instead of looking at it as that's bad, what if you looked at, okay, if I've been looking at the bad, how could I look at this from a place of a blessing? The universe is for me. The situation was for me. What can I then take away from it to help me change my perception? Because I change my perception, I change my world. Change your perception, you change what you manifest. And nobody else can change it for you. Your words, the words that come out of your mouth, nobody else can take them out. Nobody else can put them in. Same thing with what you think inside your head. You're doing it inside of you. And those pictures, those perceptions of changing from this is bad to this is good, or this was against me, or this was bad for me, to this, what if this was good for me? change your perspective, change your life. Leave me a comment. What are you changing your perspective on?